Lata, I would like to check whether my voice is clear.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So just for the attention of everyone, we're going live in 1 or 2 minutes. On the Facebook, there is a lag of half a minute or so. So if we go live now, people should be able to watch us after a minute. So I'm going live now.
Ambili, let me know when to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I start?
Yeah.
Okay. I welcome you all today. ATREE Foundation welcomes you all to an evening of joy, celebration, and networking. Today is part 1 of our 2-day webinar series. It's Sustainable Menstruation Waste Management. Before we begin with our eminent speakers and the panelists, I would like to take this opportunity to share our journey in this space. ATREE Foundation is an NGO founded by 3 women from medical background who felt the urgent need to look at solutions to manage waste. All waste types, that is wet, dry, e-waste, menstrual waste, were studied for their entire end-to-end life cycle. Pilot implementations were done and advocacy made to various stakeholders. As females, the waste generated due to single-use menstrual products had to be handled tactfully. So with this understanding, Project Sakhi was launched to reduce the menstrual waste burden and to create awareness for use of sustainable menstrual products. Equal effort are put to help create sustainable solutions for menstrual waste generated due to unsafe disposal of single-use sanitary products. Today, as we complete 1 year of our Project Sakhi, we are happy to share our journey to date. A small video will be shown to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Veena, for the introduction. I'm Ambili Adityan. I lead the programs at ATREE Foundation, and I'm sure you all enjoyed watching our one-year journey of Sakhi. So before we begin our today's webinar, I want to quickly take you all to what is Sakhi. So Sakhi is an initiative of ATREE Foundation. So Sakhi is a friend for you. So switching to eco-friendly alternatives is easy when you have a friend or a Sakhi to guide you. So Sakhi can be a gynecologist, a doctor, a nurse, a paramedical staff, or any menstrual cup user who would hold your hands and help you to switch to sustainable alternatives. Hence the name Sakhi. So now under Project Sakhi, we have 5 pillars. First is Sakhi workshops, where we hold awareness sessions, both offline and online. As on date, we have held 250 sessions reaching around 2,500 to 3,000 women. Next is Sakhi Center. Sakhi Center is a medical center where education is provided, access to sustainable menstrual products is available, and lastly, support to every woman to help them switch to sustainable alternatives is provided. As on date, we have 20 Sakhi centers across Mumbai and Thane, which includes PHCs also. Third is Sakhi Helpline, which is our 3 months hand-holding support program to help every woman who purchase a menstrual cup to switch to the reusable alternatives. We have 500 active women using our helpline service on a regular basis. Next is our Sakhi Trainer program. Sakhi Trainer is a certified program by Sakhi and AMOX, which is the Association of Maharashtra Obstetrics and Gynaecological Society. The program is curated by both the organizations with the intention to make every menstrual cup user a certified trainer by a medical body. As on date, we have 50 trainers, which includes both medical trainers and non-medical trainers. And final pillar is our Sakhi Donate, wherein we donate reusable menstrual alternatives to low-income group people. As on date, we have donated 100 plus menstrual cups. In fact, our ongoing program involves donation of menstrual cup to healthcare warriors who are in the front line. And all this would not have been possible without our cup partner, Rustic Art. Thank you, Rustic Art. So with this, I would like to now start today's program. Today is our 1-year Sakhi anniversary. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our advisory board member for Project Sakhi, Dr. Sangeeta Pikle. Dr. Sangeeta is a practicing gynecologist in Mumbai with an experience of over 29 years. She is an environmentalist. She has been on our board and has been guiding us for a variety of projects, including Sakhi Trainer program. And recently, she was very enthusiastically supporting us in our effort to donate menstrual cups to the COVID warriors. I would like ma'am to speak a few words before we begin today's webinar.
Hello everybody, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So, firstly, congratulations to the Sakhi team, to the ATREE team for having taken up such a fantastic endeavor. And I always say it's very easy to be an advisor because in Marathi we say Margadarshan. That means that darshan karana, aapi ko marg chalna hai. And you guys are doing it fantastic. I think all the things you're saying is what you do. I was raised by my dad, Dr. S.V. Nadkarni, who was Dean of Sion Hospital, and I was raised with an understanding of how is to be protected. And I have seen solar panels, gobar gas plants, and all of this being introduced to me as a young child, saying these are the ways forward. So when I met Lata, and for the before Sakhi program also, she was always talking about biomedical waste and others. I got involved with her in many little things, and I'm actually honored to be a part of the Sakhi team. One of the most important things I like about this Sakhi program is that the fact that, during this COVID times, when we had this interview, I think in the Quint it was printed, and we had this survey of resident doctors, we found that many of the resident doctors were extremely uncomfortable when they were sweating so much and they were menstruating, and they didn't know what was dribbling down their thighs, whether it was sweat or whether it was menses, and it was so uncomfortable. And that is when a little effort of survey was done, and the doctors came out and spoke openly about it, and have now, some of them have switched on to using the Silastic cup. The most important part is, which people don't understand, is this is not just about environment, it's about empowering the girl. Empowering in the sense she can now do all the activities that she found limited because of either tampons or sanitary pads. And I think Sakhi program is going to go on for eternity. I don't think it's going to be one birthday or second birthday. It's going to be for eternity. And I remember only one thing I'd like to share. I've never spoken to my son about menstruation. And when I spoke to him about this program, I mean, whoever talks to boys about menses, unless probably they're married and they have girlfriends. And I spoke to him about what I was doing with Sakhi. And he said, I'd like to help you. And I said, why would you like to help me? And I remember him saying a very simple thing. He said, if it's making the girls' lives a little less messier, I'd like to contribute to it. And I think today, for me, the fact is that the boys are interested in helping the girls. So this is no longer a taboo that girls are still scared of speaking. I think everybody's in it with you. And you should have sakhas along with the skis. We have sakhas who are willing to help us. The men are also there to help us. And we can take this forward as a community activity, not just a women's activity. All the best to the Sakhi team. I'm always there for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the lovely words. We are happy to have you here today. Okay, so as you all know, the theme for today's webinar is Sustainable Menstrual Practices. So over the last few years, many individuals, volunteer groups, NGOs, they have come together and they have done a phenomenal job in educating women to switch to sustainable menstrual alternatives. So today being our anniversary, we would like to pay a small tribute to all these men and women who have done so much effort in ensuring that every woman switch to sustainable alternative with the intention of reducing the menstrual waste burden. So I would like to show a small video. I hope you will all enjoy it. Thank you. So this was our way of thanking so many men and women out there who are doing it without any expectation, just with the pure passion of wanting to change a woman's life for better, for her own body and for the health of the planet. So I hope all of you liked it. Next, I would want to say that education and advocacy on sustainable menstrual alternatives would not have been possible without a brigade of social entrepreneurs who stepped into the sector to create affordable, high quality, reusable alternatives for Indian market. So today, Sakhi-RNisarg Foundation salutes your efforts, your courage, your perseverance to ensure that every woman in India have access to such products. So from our end, again, a small tribute to these entrepreneurs.
A little bit of good can turn into a whole lot of good when fueled by the commitment of a social entrepreneur. Jeffrey Shaw. NGO ATREE Foundation wishes to congratulate social entrepreneurs, individuals who took risks and efforts to create a positive change in the community. Kartava, Boon, EcoFem, Ecoria, GeoCare, SheCup, Mera Pad, Nari, Nariyari, eSafe, Stick Art, Saukyam, SheCup, Sirona, Soch Green, Shomota, Stone Soup, Cougar, Lutro Care, and many more. Kudos to you for making women's life a tad less messier, but more happier and healthier. Let's celebrate together as we restore together. Thank you.
Thank you. So we apologize if we have missed anyone. It was not an intentional thing. We have tried to include as many people as we knew or as many contacts that we received. So thank you so much. Sakhi would not have been possible without all of you. So many projects that is happening today in India would not have been possible because of you. So thank you once again. So since the tone of the webinar has been set, I think I'm very delighted now to invite the moderator for today's session, Dr. Meenakshi Bharat. Dr. Meenakshi is a gynecologist and she has been well known for her work in menstrual health education and sustainable menstrual practice. She is a living example of somebody who would live a zero waste lifestyle. From delivering babies to delivering waste-free talks, she has done it all with a charm. She's a live example of hosting a zero waste wedding for her own son, and in fact, recently, COVID patient management at home without generating any waste. So, ma'am, we are honored to have you today as the moderator for the session. Over to you. You're muted, ma'am. You're muted.
Sorry. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be here with such wonderful people and such people who have brought so much of change to the community. Can I open with the first panelist? Mr. Ashish Malani, the only gentleman on the panel. Thank you very much for being here. We are delighted to have you. You and your brother Manish started the SheCup production in India. Cup production in India, and called it the SheCup. And I think you've done fabulous job since 2009, 2010. And we would like to ask you a few questions to understand how you did this and what was your journey. Um, how did you think about starting manufacturing of the menstrual cup?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Meenakshi. Our foundation, eminent panelists, and lovely audience. Humbled to be here today. I mean, it feels great, after 10 years, this kind of recognition. Thank you for this. Yeah, it all started with a very tragic incident in the family when we lost a close relative to cervical cancer, and it began with the quest to find cost-effective diagnostic kits for cervical cancer. And in the process, we could not do much on that front, but someone introduced the concept of menstrual cups to us, and we realized that healthy menstrual practices probably would also make a person less prone to cervical cancer incidences. And that's how we took on the concept of menstrual cup. And when we looked around at that time, which was way back in 2008, 2009, there were only 3 or 4 brands which were international brands from US or Canada, the Diva Cup, the Moon Cup, and they were very expensive. And we thought that this is not going to work for the Indian market, and why should we do that? I mean, so we began with our own trials, to develop a menstrual cup in India. And there have been some great people who helped us with the project. And it took us about a little more over a year to make various prototypes and try them out and with friends and family, and then to come out with the version that we have today. And it's been the same for the last 10, 11 years. So menstrual cup happened by accident. It was not something that we set out to do, but it came along and we picked it up. And in the process, we realized that how this simple, beautiful biological process has been made so complex, especially in societies like ours. And hence the project took a bigger shape, rather than just the menstrual cup. It became a project around menstrual hygiene management. So that was the beginning, or that is how we set off doing it. Yeah. Sorry, you're on mute.
With so many cups, you set the trend, and now there are lots of manufacturers in India. How do we then enable transparency of the quality of this product?
Yeah, that's a very valid question and a very important question that we need to address at this time, because I'll tell you our own example. What happened with us was we were ready with the menstrual cup, the SheCup, in 2009, end of 2009. But before going to the market, someone kind of made us aware of what if something goes wrong. It's a internal application and intravaginal device, so if anything would go wrong, we could get into more legal issues, and that would be a serious problem. So we stepped back and we looked around if there were any norms to certify cup that we had. Unfortunately, there were none, and there are none till date. So, but what we did was we found US pharmacopoeia, and we took up those standards, and tested the SheCup as per the US pharmacopoeia, and that's how we came out, with a certified product. But yes, I think it's very critical. It's very important that we have norms and well-defined norms on the quality of the material which is being used, the process that is followed in manufacturing, and the ultimate product. So fortunately for us, there's a history of around 11 years now, where we haven't had any negative incidents of the SheCup usage. So that itself is kind of a certificate, much larger, much better than what is certified by a laboratory or anywhere else. Thousands of women certified the quality, the usability of the product. So that's
And you haven't changed the design of your cup over 11 years.
very, very good question. And 5 continents, more than 50 countries, different ethnicities, different types of women, different age groups, different strata. Women across the spectrum have used the menstrual cup in the SheCup in the form that it was built in 2000, and it remains the same till date. Fantastically well for everybody as it is. So why make it complex? Just leave it as simple as it is.
And one size for all. So thank you
Absolutely.
very much for this wonderful exposition on how SheCup was born and how you have survived for 11 years in a, the only male bastion among the women. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go on to the next one, which is Kerala. So where is this girl? Reema Anand. Reema Anand is the project in charge for something unique that they are doing in Kerala. They are part of the ATREE, and they have started a whole village which is going to convert to becoming completely sustainable, not using a single-use disposable pad. So Reema, we would like you to tell us, how did you take up this project, or how did this project land in your hands?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
First of all, thank you, Team ATREE, and thank you, ma'am, so much. I'm so happy to be a part of this webinar. Thank you all. So what we are doing in Kerala, as ma'am pointed out, a small village in Kerala called Muhamma in Alleppey district is becoming India's almost first single-use sanitary pad-free village. So almost all the women in the village are in a phase of change. They are shifting their practice to sustainable alternative. So ma'am's question, how we started this project. So ATREE is field academic community environment the center in Alleppey basically work for the conservation of Vembanad wetlands. So we have a CSR funded project in Kerala in Vembanad wetlands. And as a part of this program, we have a village adoption project. So during our activities in this village, in the village adoption program, we are basically addressing the threats in Vembanad Lake. So one of the major threat we are addressing here is the lake pollution. So the complexity of the Vembanad wetlands is there are so many villages, so many panchayats surrounding this lake, and almost in all the villages there are so many canals and ponds. These are like nervous system that is draining off into the lake. So all these canals and water bodies contribute a lot to the health of the lake system. So the pollution in these water bodies is a big issue. And while rejuvenating the canals in Muhamma, we found that there are huge tons of used sanitary napkins are thrown into these water bodies. Not only sanitary pads, of course, diapers and other plastics are also there. But this contributed a lot, and there we started our project. So as a part of our Model Wetland Village program, Muhammodayam, we started, that's how the project came into our hands. So from that point, we started awareness campaigns. We started talking with women, started finding out what are the problem they are facing, how many menstruating women are there in the village, and what are their practices and how they are disposing these single-use sanitary products. And then we started awareness campaigns, then familiarized the sustainable alternative products to them. And slowly, we are able to shift them to these sustainable alternatives like cloth pads and menstrual cups. So that's a short.
Wonderful. Could we have that video that talks about the project.
മുഹമ്മയിലെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട തോടായിട്ടുള്ള മുപ്പരുത്തിയോട് വൃത്തിയാക്കിയപ്പോഴാണ് അതിൽ നിന്ന് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ മാലിന്യം എന്ന തരത്തിൽ കിട്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള സ്ത്രീകൾ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള സിന്തറ്റിക് പാടുകളായി. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ നിന്നാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഭീകരാവസ്ഥ പഞ്ചായത്തിന് ബോധ്യപ്പെട്ടത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിൽ എന്താണ് ബദൽ മാർഗം എന്നതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ആലോചിച്ചതിൻ്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിലാണ് മെൻസ്ട്രൽ കപ്പിനെ കുറിച്ചും അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ക്ലോത്ത് പാഡിനെക്കുറിച്ചും ബോധ്യപ്പെട്ടത്. അപ്പോൾ അത് പ്രചരിപ്പിക്കുക എന്നതായിരുന്നു പിന്നീടുള്ള പരിശ്രമങ്ങൾ.
The trend setting that SheCup did to the trend setting that ATREE is now doing by converting a whole village. This will be the trend setter for the whole country. Now, what were the behavioral challenges that you faced and how did you overcome this challenge, Reema?
So basically, the first and foremost challenge was the taboos and stigma and the inhibition of the women towards this menstruation and the talk about menstruation. So Muhamma is a very rural village in Kerala, and most of the women are clam collectors. Their livelihood opportunity, they depend for livelihood on clam collecting. And many of the women, a part of other women is depending on the kite industry. So these rural women, they have a lot of taboos and stigmas towards menstruation. They were not even ready to talk about menstruation in a public gathering. They don't even talk to their friends or anyone about this menstruation. So to bring them to a common platform, make them talk about their problems. So if they would talk about their problems, or if they're ready to share their feelings or their problems about menstruation, then only they'll identify what are the health issues, what are the problems with these single-use sanitary products. So that was the first challenge. And we started small gatherings, single-day workshops purely for these women, brought them together, started frequent discussion with these women to make them talk about menstruation. So slowly they started sharing their feeling, their problems, and in which we could point out the health issues, mainly the health issues that were the prime focus. Then we made awareness about the environmental issues of most of them are burning the sanitary pad, single-use products after the use. So they don't even realize what are the issues that is coming after the burn. So when they burn these used products, they don't stand there. They're telling us that we don't stand there. So the smoke is not going to affect us. So we had to make them understand how these smoke and the dioxins and all the chemicals are affecting their health. So that was the biggest. Then another challenge was the limitations being an NGO. So basically, NGO, when we go to the community, there is, especially in Kerala, they have a hesitation. They only hear what the government or the department or the local self-government. So because local self-government system is strong in Kerala, so that was one of the biggest challenge. That is the point we started collaborating with the panchayat. We were able to convince them about the feasibility of the sustainable alternatives, about the merits of these products and how feasible it is and how it is affecting the health and the environment. So from that point, after collaborating with the panchayat, then the health department and education department in campaigns in schools. For that, we need the support from educational department. Then one of the other strongest system in Kerala is Kudumbasri. So Kudumbasri is an apex body where they have a 3-tier system. They have community development societies, under which comes the area development society. Then comes small gatherings called neighborhood groups called Ayalkutams. So that's a well-established system. So we got hold of that system, and through these systems, we reached each and every woman in the panchayats. So for that, we trained ASHA workers, given training, and after training, we gave them sample kits and trained them for door-to-door campaigns. So that's how we solve these major challenges.
More strength to you, more strength to ATREE. And as you succeed, we will spread across many, many panchayats across the country. Thank you very much, Reema.
Thank you.
I'd like to now talk to Dr. Anahita Chauhan. Good evening, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you on this platform. We would first of all like you to say, why is it that gynecologists are still holding back to taking up sustainable menstrual products?
Thank you for the opportunity, and congratulations to ATREE Foundation for their excellent work. Having heard the previous two speakers, I really feel that the work we do as clinicians and as gynecologists, somewhere we have fallen short. To answer your question in a nutshell, somewhere we have fallen short because we are not always talking about menstrual hygiene. We're not always talking about the broader picture of environment. We're not talking about sustainability when we're talking as clinicians sitting in our clinics. At the same time, when we have doctors in the public health sector, again, I think overall health becomes so much more of a priority that, sustainable practices take a little bit of a backseat. There is always this divide between the public sector and the private sector and what kind of things we can promote and advocate. And I think one very important area which we as gynecologists have now realized we should target is the adolescent group, because this is the group whose health is getting neglected. And if we can start talking about sustainability and good menstrual hygiene practices and a sort of positive promotive health to the younger generation, I think that's where the change would begin. There's definitely a little bit of a reluctance among the older gynecologists to talk about the menstrual cup or to talk about, sustainable multi-use pads. And I don't know where this reluctance comes from. But if you see the kind of clients who approach me today in Mumbai city, the younger girls who are really much more aware of what is going on and who actually have access and knowledge about the cup, not from doctors, but from blogs or the internet. And I think that's a point where we really need to make a change. I'll give you a small example. One of the cup manufacturers was at our largest conference, that is the All India Congress. And they had a stall in that Congress. And that's a Congress which is attended by about 10,000 gynecologists all over the country. And it's an annual mega event. And somehow the gynecologists were all rushing to all the stalls of other pharmaceutical manufacturers and really skipping over the stalls of the menstrual cup providers. So I think there is some inherent, latent,
reluctance.
Kind of thing, some kind of taboo, some kind of stigma that is associated, which is very surprising coming from the gynecological fraternity.
Correct. So unfortunately for you and me, we have missed the boat. but those who have used the cup think it's a liberating experience.
Yes.
So we have to get this idea into the gynecologist's head that you missed it, but don't allow the other women to miss it. And gynecologists are the first reference point. People come to the gynecologist.
So, you know, I sit in a private practice, and for almost 30 years, I was professor in the public hospital. So I do a lot of counseling now when mothers bring their daughters to me. And I think gynecologists should not waste a single opportunity to promote and talk about menstrual health. Because, you know, when mothers bring their daughters and say, oh, you know, she wants to use this cup, and what is this cup? I think it's important for us to explain to the mothers that your daughter knows better than you in this aspect.
Correct.
And
correct.
I've had a lot of younger girls who really are, you know, I think, as you said, we missed the boat. Our generation may talk about environmentally friendly, but all of us are not so positive in our day-to-day actions. The younger generation has got it beautifully. So I think if we target the younger generation, the sexually emancipated or otherwise urban young girls, as well as the rural population, to understand that the world is theirs and they need to take care of themselves as well as the world, I think it will go a long way.
I think the sustainable products will improve the health of the woman. It will definitely improve the environment. And if these two are there, it will be good for our purses. So we have to understand it's a no rash, no cash, no trash program.
I was about to say that a lot of young girls do come to me with, you know, problems of itching or vaginal discharge because of other products that they have used. And I often say that, look, I'm not here to promote any brand. I'm not here to counsel you, but maybe you need to switch to a healthier option.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Anahita. I hope that all gynecologists, you are heading the biggest OBG society in India. I hope that you will carry this message to all your colleagues and that they will take this up, because it's very important. We need health, we need environment, and we definitely need to spend less money, because we're spending enormous money. A cup of 1,000 rupees lasting 10 years costs less than 100 rupees a year, which means less than 10 rupees a month. It's the most economical thing in the world. So I think we need to do that.
In fact, just to end this discussion, I do keep a sample of the cup in my clinic, and I don't know how many other gynecologists do that, but I have a model, I have an actual cup in my clinic. The moment somebody even talks, I just whip it out and say, look, it's this, and how easy is it?
Correct.
So,
thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, ma'am. So we'll now move on to Arundati. She is heading the Sustainable Menstruation India organization, which is beginning to talk across the country about sustainable menstruation and also menstruation. First menstruation and then sustainable menstruation. So what is the status of this in India, your organization, for which we must all be part of?
Thank you, Dr. Meenakshi, and congratulations to ATREE Foundation for a wonderful achievement, and also for focusing on the issue of menstrual cup use. So, Dr. Meenakshi, you asked an important question, that what's the status? And I have to say that I think that we've come a long way in the past 10 years. If you asked anyone 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, what are the products that are being used or that should be used, everyone would say that sanitary pads are the like gold standard that we should all aspire to promoting and to using. And we've come a long way since 2015. We've seen the entrant of so many different types of wonderful cloth pads, as well as of menstrual cups. We've seen small groups, large groups, advocates promoting the use of reusable products for cloth pads and menstrual cups. We've also, however, we've seen that while this movement has been growing with civil society groups or with citizen groups, it's not picked up perhaps as much traction when we're looking at large-scale government programs that have the ability to reach masses, to reach a wide number of women and adolescent girls through their excellent maternal and adolescent and women's health programs. There are several kind of, I think, questions and challenges that the government has with regard to reusable products, and those concerns have meant that they're not able to include cloth pads as well as menstrual cups as a part of the basket of products that they are trying to promote with adolescent girls across the country through programs under health as well as the women and child development departments in states. So yes, tremendous amount of progress. We definitely need to keep that momentum going, especially with organizations such as this, as well as other movements that we have like Green the Red. However, we also need to figure out ways by which we can be reaching more and more girls and women with information about alternative products. How are they to use them? How can they access them in a sustainable and in a sustained manner? And how can we kind of ease those supply chains through government, private sector channels, as well as through civil society organizations?
So is there any importance of standardization of menstrual cups in India? I asked Ashish, I'm asking you also the same question, because we need quality products to come to be available in the country. Arundati, you're frozen.
So sorry. We started by asking for more rigorous standards for sanitary pads. We've recently proposed standards for reusable cloth pads. And we also think it's very important to have standards for menstrual cups, especially for products that are to be made available through commercial channels. So through products that are sold. I think it's critical that standards exist. And let me tell you a little bit as to why, because I know a lot of people are, they feel threatened by the whole issue of quality standards. Here, let's be realistic. We're competing in a market where sanitary pads are held as gold standard. And while I completely agree that not all sanitary pads meet necessary quality standards, to be able to be competitive with this, to be able to convince more and more people that reusable cloth pads and menstrual cups are an important and a viable alternative for us to use, we need to also ensure and assure our users that they meet a quality standard. So yes, I agree with Ashish. We've got excellent user feedback on the comfort and on the efficacy of cups. But I also think that it's a responsibility of ours as being in the sector to ensure that whatever product that we're giving to our consumers, especially if we're selling them, then we need to make sure that they're meeting basic minimal standards. Cups are inserted into the body. There is research out there that poor quality cups or cups that are made from substandard materials are harmful to health, and they have been associated with some very serious reproductive morbidities. And therefore, we need to make sure that the cups that are of good quality don't lose out because we have a market where substandard products also make an entry. While I know that this doesn't always apply to sanitary pads, where you have more poorly made sanitary pads than good ones, unfortunately, cloth pads and menstrual cups are not the same kind of leeway is not provided to cups and to cloth pads. So I do think that there is a space for standards. However, as we work on developing these standards, we want to reach out and work as much as we can with manufacturers, with organizations that promote this, to understand what are those basic minimal standards. We don't want to make it so unreachable that it's not allowing for an even playing field. So we want to be realistic, but we do believe that this is an important step towards making these products far more available and acceptable and usable by girls and women. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I believe that they use platinum cured medical grade silicone, which is the gold standard. And as of now, I think there are 2 manufacturers of the platinum grade medical cured silicone. One is Germany and one is Japan. And yes, it is more expensive, but I think when you see that it lasts you 10 years, nothing lasts you 10 years. This lasts you 10 years, and it's amazing. We need to invest. When we are investing in a good cotton sari, we are paying for it. As against that, a nylon sari comes for 350 rupees. So we need to understand that we need to pay for our quality. We cannot get quality without paying for it. So every time we say less, 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 then the quality comes down. So we need to hold on to quality and paying for it, and understanding that in the long run, it's highly economical. So really, no rash, no cash, and no trash. It's all the disposable stuff, we don't even look at the environmental impact and the environmental cost it is producing for us. So we need to thank you panelists for this wonderful thing. I understand that we have to make women understand that anything disposable is not good for our health. Everything that is reusable. India was such a wonderful, sustainable country. From the exercise that we did while we, didn't get into mechanized stuff. When we used to grind our dosa and idli, our arm exercise used to get done. And because these mixies have come, our arms have all gone for a 6. The same way, sustainability is the way forward for us in every form. So we need to convince the girls that they can wash their cloth sanitary napkins. It's no great shakes. And using a menstrual cup and the blood in the menstrual cup, don't faint. It's your own blood. Why do you need to worry about it? So we need to understand, and the water that is required for cleaning both the cloth pads and the menstrual cup is so little. If we can wash our clothes, we can wash our cloth pads. If we have half a cup of water, we can wash our menstrual cup, and there is nothing to worry about it. Like we don't boil our toothbrushes before we put it into our mouth, we don't need to boil the menstrual cup when we put it into the vagina, because both mouth and vagina are unsterile organs and don't need any, they have their own cleaning up mechanism. So I would end on this. Thank you, ATREE, for the wonderful opportunity to connect with such fabulous people. And I look forward to working. We need to, as a group, work together, get the government to understand sustainability is the way forward, and they will save money. And that is something that we all need to do. Thank you. Thank you, Lata, Ganshamani, and everybody here.
So as we come to the closure of the seminar, we purposefully wanted it to be very crisp and small for an hour, because we realize we kind of overstretch and the audience also gets, little jittery. I would request Ambali, if there are any questions on the FB where audience is watching us, if you could just pick it up. Meanwhile, I'll just try to get some closing statements from our panelists. And we have Dr. Sangeeta ma'am also. She's itching to talk to Anahita about something. So I would request her to go ahead with the question, and then I will ask each of the panelists a closing statement from my end. So ma'am, Sangeeta ma'am, if you could just go.
So I think it was a wonderful program. Anahita, what I was hoping is that we can do something, since you're the secretary of MOGS and you're probably one of the most powerful people also in Foxy and everywhere. So, and we have 36,000 gynecologists or maybe even more now with us. So what is it that we could probably collaborate with ATREE or every other NGO that one thing I would like to say is we are here about the sustainability and the women health. It's not just about ATREE, it's about spreading the message across. Right. And so what is it that you think we could, plan on this platform and with yours?
So I think our main strength, because we, as gynecologists, our main strength is training and advocacy. So I think we can actually talk in medical terms to lay people or other trainers to help strengthen the pool of trainers. I think that's our main strength, Sangeeta. You know, we may not all of us want to go out into the camps or the fields or the rural areas and show patients or users, but we would be good in the training aspect of it. I think we would also be good if we had to partner to look at overall health and hygiene and nutrition. So, you know, anemia, sexual health, answering all those queries as a holistic approach, not just talking about the menstruation. I think our main strength is education and advocacy as well to some extent.
Thank you so much.
So, so as we close on this, yeah, sure.
Can we have menstrual hygiene as one of the verticals that are there in the FOXY? We have so many verticals in the FOXY. Can you advocate that we have menstrual hygiene and how to take care of women's health during menstruation?
So, you know, we, unfortunately, I'm a very small fish in the Foxy pool. I can do whatever in the Mumbai society where I'm currently serving as secretary. But I think there are various other aspects and various programs in Foxy which are looking at menstrual health, which are looking at sexual and reproductive health, and which are looking at anemia. And I think as a, you know, as a gynecology organization, I think health and issues with health become more of a priority than hygiene. So I agree with you completely that menstrual hygiene should be one of the verticals, or should at least fall under the purview of one of the 27 odd Foxy committees. But that's a thought that we can put up in the future.
I'm sure you can do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Lata.
So, no, it was a pleasure. So today, as ATREE, we had hosted this webinar with a single motive, but not about ourselves as ATREE or Sakhi project. It is about, I speak on behalf of all the ladies, the vibrant groups of GTR and Red is the New Green, and so many news, so many campaigns, so many people working on this platform. They look up to certain organizations to support them. And there is where I feel the manufacturers or the social entrepreneurs who are doing such a fabulous job of getting good quality cups. They're trying to match everything which could, you know, be available abroad, but now made available in India. So somewhere we as normal people would want, from coming from this aspect of an NGO, try to reach out to you guys and ask one parting commitment from be the Gynaec, be the cup manufacturer, like I would say MHAI, who's doing such a lovely job, and Rima, of course, is part of us. So some parting commitment from your end where you would, whoever is watching us today feels like, okay, I can reach out to them. They will help me in this program. Can you do something like this? It's not about ATREE. Today's day is dedicated to all the ladies. You know, Meenakshi ma'am knows there is so much of work being done by housewives and ladies across India. Let's do a one single commitment of that they can connect to you at any given point time and reach out. So let's start with the first person. Ashish, can you give us something? We are here always hungry to have support. So if you could.
So I think yes, definitely. We've been since we were the early starters, you know, in this segment, and we've always talked about collaborative work, whether it's with the NGOs or other manufacturers. We've always tried to come together because if I shout, I wouldn't be able to reach. But if many people shout, we can make a big noise about it. So certainly we are committed, we are open, and we'll always be there. Whether it's, actually, if you go to see, I would also, I mean, since Dr. Anahita is here, Dr. Sangeeta is here, I would also say there are not very large studies which have been carried out for the menstrual cups. And with their kind of support to the pharmacy or the medical colleges, we could probably take up, studies around the menstrual cup and really come out with strong theses. I mean, we have clinical trial reports for the SheCup, but they're very small. So if something like that can be taken up, it can prove to the world, with the quality or the sustainability of the product, the credibility of the option. That is something that we would like to commit
I think,
to.
Ashish,
Yes.
you have picked up a very pertinent question. Even though I am a doctor, when I try to influence another doctor, they ask me about studies. They ask me, do you have any research, any paper, anything which... So I have been chasing all the gynecologists, colleagues of mine, let's do some study and let's come up with some data, be it retrospective or, is it related to infection or IUD usage, or, there have been funny videos going around about prolapse. So we need to answer them in a scientific way to, kind of put end to this question mark, which is raised many a times, in fact, with gynecologists themselves. So Ashish, I think point noted, all the gynaec on the house, we have homework to go back and do. And here I would definitely say we have many cup manufacturers like Ashish's SheCup, Rusticart, and many others who have database. So we have already a user database. Let's take everybody's help and try to run in a survey or something which we could, and it would be probably, Arundati could tell me about this. Is there a study like this which we could do with MHAI, which holds like, more weightage, or if there, we could do something in collaboration, then maybe it could speak volumes about it. So Arundati, what do you think about this?
Yes, Dr. Lata, do let us know. Actually, my partner in crime, Tanya Mahajan, she is involved in doing a cup study in India. So we'd be happy to kind of look as to how we can collaborate with you to undertake such a thing. I think there's definitely a need for more evidence. We are trying to do one thing, is to actually speak with cup manufacturers, with organizations that have been promoting cups, to understand more about their experiences, what are the considerations for cup use, how cup use, with which groups, with populations has it worked. So we are, we're doing it. That's more of like a small qualitative study. So we'll reach out to many of you. But definitely, if we want to do an actual trial of cups, that's something that we should look into. The only issue, I think, with cup trials is that it receives it's quite complicated to go through all the approvals, especially in terms of the ethical approvals, given that it's an insertion product. But nevertheless, we can figure out how we can overcome those hoops. So yes, please do count us in for support.
Yeah, we will shortly formulate this with the other gynaec, and we will get in touch with you. And that was so nice that you're welcoming for this kind of a study to be taken in. Reema, I would say you can reach out to all of these guys to see how they could contribute to your, success story to become multiply more. And Ashish is already doing a lot of work. Ashish, we are available to you as gynaec, as medical professional, to help you promote your things. Let's all get handhold each other, because it's a subject which has a lot of attachments to it, be it socioeconomic, cultural, financial, and many more. So at that note, I say we would want to close today's seminar or webinar, and I would also invite all of you all for tomorrow's session on menstrual waste management. So like in the beginning, our co-founder, Dr. Mrs. Veena Angadi, has mentioned that ATREE stepped into this space was primarily for the menstrual waste which was getting created. So cup was not the only agenda on us. We are looking at a holistic approach wherein it's not definitely right on our part to force all the 100% female to switch to a cup. We will definitely have users of disposable pad, cloth pad. We have biodegradable pads coming in, compostable pads coming in. We're going to have a very healthy discussion tomorrow with our other list of panelists, wherein we are going to look at how is that we are going to address this growing problem of menstrual waste. So tomorrow we are meeting again on FB Live at 4 o'clock, and we look forward to taking this step of how does India work towards not only menstrual waste reduction through sustainable practice, but also manage the menstrual waste, which is still going to be generated because we are a big country. At that note, a big thank you to all of you all, so kind of you. And somewhere I will again thank COVID-19 for letting us, take this opportunity to connect with all of us. And a big thumbs up to all my NGOs and manufacturers. Great guys. Thank you so much. Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Good night.